both of these clubs, and that's the word balance. You and I have been here for 3 days televising the games, and of all the teams in this tournament, I really believe that Hawaii and Pepperdine are very equal teams. They play very good defense. They've got good pitching, and they've been hitting the ball well. Now, I understand from some of the scouts in the stands, however, that Pepperdine really hasn't hit the ball like they have been hitting and or are capable of hitting. But they do have a deep pitching staff, and we haven't seen that many of the Pepperdine pitchers. A couple of guys have made an appearance on the mound just to be on the mound. So I totally agree with you that pitching is going to be the key factor in the game today.
And what's interesting about that is Pepperdine is going with their ace, Pat Ahern, the Oral Hershiser clone, if you wish, and that's the ace of their staff. And in speaking with Coach Les earlier, he was somewhat not surprised, but he thought that they would maybe save Ahern if there were game 2. He didn't think that they would come with their ace right away. They would keep their ace in the hole, if you wish. For the Bows, I think for the 2 teams in the tournament that are here in the finals, they probably were the most pitching rich of all the teams in the tournament. I think that the Bows and the Waves of Pepperdine had probably the best pitching. What happened to the Bows on the first game is it just didn't hit the ball. They didn't give any support to Scott Carl. They got down early, giving up 4 runs in the first inning, and it was an uphill climb for them. So they've played like 4 games versus 3 for Pepperdine. And yes, pitching will be the key. On the mound today, Scott Carl maybe atone a little bit for somewhat subpar performance in the first game, but it should be really an interesting game because both teams have a lot of respect for each other, and they're going to go at each other with their pitchers, their hitting, and their good defense.
Well, before the game, Ron also talked to Coach Les about the game, and here's how that went.
When we first came to Tucson, we wondered, would the Bows be alive, would be ready to go after winning the WAC championship? Coach Murakami, when you came here and played that first game against southeastern Louisiana, lost 8-0. What happened after that to get this team alive?
It rained, like it's raining now, and I think it woke us up. The first game, we just caught a very, very hot pitcher, you know, and Scotty Carl had some bad luck the first inning and just took us out of the game. But the second game when we played, we felt pretty good, and you know, and we didn't feel like we were withered, you know. That first game it was kind of hot and everything, but I think the rain did it. Really, it woke us up, and even right now it's kind of drizzling, and I kind of like it. It seems like it's an omen, you know. I just hope it is.
Well, while the umpires and coaches are meeting at home plate, we can set the scene for this, Ron, by saying that this is an elimination game for Hawaii, but it's not one for Pepperdine. Now, it's very obvious that Hawaii needs to win the first game to continue to the second game, okay? But what is the underlying theme, I believe, here is that Hawaii not only needs to win the first game for that, but also they need to win the first game because then it becomes a winner-take-all situation at a neutral site. Okay, and there's only an elimination game at that point for both teams. But that's, I think, is the underlying theme of this game, is the fact that this park is a neutral site for both Hawaii and Pepperdine. And when you look at other regionals, and it's been proven over the years that the team who has hosted the regional, although it's not always that case this year, is usually the team that comes out, and you look at Arizona eliminated after the first 2 games. So again, neutral site for that championship game, so that's another important reason for Hawaii to win this first game.
Yeah, and what happened is, you know, Texas had the home field advantage. They had to win 1 out of 2 games this afternoon, and our last report was that Virginia Commonwealth had beaten them in the first game, so they had to come back in the second game. But then Virginia Commonwealth has to beat the home team in that regional. And you're right, it becomes a neutral site here should the Bows win the first game.
Well, the umpires have taken their positions on the field. We're about ready to go. And before we do, we've got some commercial messages for you, and we'll be right back. Field. Now, Ron, I think there are other factors in the game that we should consider. One is the overall team speed, and I believe Hawaii has the edge there. Hawaii also, I believe, has the edge in power. Watching the teams take batting practice, you know, a couple of the Pepperdine guys, you know, can hit with power, but not as much as the Hawaii guys can. So I think both teams, however, are very evenly matched, as we discussed a little bit earlier. So I look for this to be a very close contest, and even coming down to the latter part of the game to decide who the winner will be. So we're just a few minutes away from the first pitch. The Bulls are gathering in front of the dugout for their team yell, and they'll hustle out to their positions. As a point of interest, we have moved a camera from the first base dugout to directly behind home plate. And this is the picture you're getting from that camera right now.
1, 2, 3, go!
The weather turned ugly, and there you look at the camera directly behind home plate. The weather turned ugly about a half hour ago now, Ron, and it came down fairly hard for about 10 to 15 minutes. And they have to hustle out there to get the tarps on the field, but it has cleared a bit here. We're in heavy overcast skies that you can see, and off to the distance to our right, if you drew a line from home plate directly down, I would say about, oh, I don't know, 20 miles. And look, there's maybe more. It could be 100. I don't know. But there is some lightning. So the Bulls have taken their positions on the field, and the national anthem is just a few seconds away. And while all that is going on, we'll be back after these messages. Baseman Steve Rodriguez, former Rainbow Mark Wazakowski will bat second. Chris Sheff third. In center field, Dan Melendez, a highly publicized young man, who will bat fourth. Scott Vollmer, the catcher, bats fifth. David Main will be followed by Kevin Delamico, Matt Meckelreath, and Eric Ekdahl. Now, right away, you notice a couple of familiar names in there, although one of them's a different spelling. You have Chris Sheff, S-H-E-F-F, in center field, and of course Tyler Sheff of the Rainbows. And also you have Scott Vollmer, the catcher, for Pepperdine, and you have Randy Vollmer for Hawaii. Now pitching for Hawaii is Scott Carl, 13-3 record, 2.32 ERA. And again, the hopes of the Rainbows ride on his throwing arm. Did not pitch well his last outing, although overall he's been the most consistent pitcher for Hawaii this season. Now starting defensively for Hawaii.
And this is their left-handed lineup. Across the outfield, we have France Ewan in left, Eric Evans in center, Sean Rogers in right. Across the infield from third to first, Scotty Craven playing third, Randy Vollmer at short, Corey Ishigo at second, Billy Blanchett at first base, and doing the catching, Kenny Harrison.
Leading off for Pepperdine is Steve Rodriguez. A junior from Las Vegas. Rodriguez in the tournament is hitting a hefty 462. That's tournament play. Overall, a 358 batting average. First pitch delivered by Carl is a strike. Now Scott Carl, Friday night against Southeastern Louisiana, got the pitches up in the strike zone regularly. He got hit regularly, albeit not solid hits. Fastball up and outside.
And Steve Rodriguez is a tough out. Yesterday against Southeastern Louisiana, he went 3 for 4, scored 3 runs, and walked once.
Curveball gets the outside corner, 1-2. Now this is the count right here, this 1-2 count that Carl had a lot of difficulty with against Southeastern Louisiana. He frequently tried to throw the fastball by them, and they protected the plate very well, and several times really got hits off of the 1-2 count situation. So I'm going to assume, because Pepperdine is a well-coached team, that they're going to do the same thing. So the count now is 2-2 to Rodriguez, the leadoff hitter for the Waves of Pepperdine. Fouled off. Now to get here, Pepperdine, who of course is the undefeated team in this tournament, has won 3 games. And Ronnie, why don't you tell us about who those games were against?
Well, in the first game, they were the 3rd seed. They went against the 4th seed, Fresno State. They beat them in extra innings 5-4. Came back the next day, beat Southeastern Louisiana University.
There's a drive to left center field. Eric Evans goes to his right, camps under it, and makes the catch for out number 1.
And to continue the thought, they beat Washington yesterday 11-0 to advance to the championship game today.
And of course, that game yesterday against Washington had 2 undefeated teams going against each other. So Washington now eliminated last night by Hawaii. But really the surprise team of the tournament. I mean, coming in, a batter is Mark Wazakowski. Waz, junior now. And for those Rainbow fans back home, you remember his freshman year. He was the 3rd sacker, or part-time 3rd sacker for the Bows. There's the strike. In fact, he was the guy that collided with Largusa when Largusa broke his wrist. Swing and a miss. So Wazakowski really goes after that pitch. And both pitches now delivered by Scott Carl have been down in the strike zone, or all pitches by him. So Carl throwing a 1-2 pitch, high and outside, 2-2. The Rainbow faithful remain, as do the Pepperdine faithful. See the camps of blue to our right and the camps of green to our left. So the count is full to Waz.
But once the Wildcats of Arizona were eliminated, this really affected the attendance. Everything from the t-shirt sales to the cap sales to the concession stand. I mean, everybody had a hard time trying to sell their merchandise.
Good pitch right there by Carl, and he gets Wazakowski for out number 2. And that'll bring up the center fielder, Chris Sheff. It was Sheff's big hit on Friday night, the first night of the tournament, that allowed Pepperdine to defeat Fresno State in the 10th inning. Now here's a guy with some size. He's a big guy. He's also a guy that can really run.
And Coach Lopez says he can hit it out of any yard. He can hit it out of any yard at any time.
Well, he's 22 for 27 in stolen bases. Pepperdine as a team now 100 for 146 in the season. When you look at Sheff, he's 6'3", 210 pounds. Good size, especially as a guy that can run. That's pretty good size. Another swing and a miss, so Sheff is behind in the count, 1-2.
And that's, evidenced by the fact that he plays center field for the Waves, especially in a park such as this, where your center fielder has to be able to cover a lot of ground.
Fastball just misses, 2-2.
The 2 real hot hitters for the Waves throughout the tournament have been the leadoff hitter, Steve Rodriguez, and the batter that you're looking at now, Chris Sheff. They have actually got the Waves to this ball game.
Just getting the outside corner for a strikeout, the 2nd strikeout for Scott Carl. So the Waves in the top of the 1st inning go down in order. Rainbows coming to bat. Eric Evans leads off in center field, followed by designated hitter Rob Williams, who's really been producing here for Hawaii. Billy B bats 3rd, Franz Ewan 4th, Kenny Harrison, the 5th hitter, Scott Craven, the 6th. 7th hitter Sean Rogers in right field, Randy Vollmer in his usual position at shortstop, and Corey Ishiko gets a start at second base today. Now pitching for the Waves of Pepperdine is Pat Ahern. Now, as you see him pitch, it'll become very obvious to you who his idol is. He wears the idol of the number of his idol, number 55. Of course, we're talking about Oral Hershiser. And when you watch him pitch, his motion is like Hershiser. He does everything like him. He wears his pants like him. So I guess as an athlete, Ronnie, you really have it made when somebody can do everything like you, right? Or copy it.
And he wins like him too, pal.
So Evans leads off. Takes that pitch for a strike. Ball one. It's 1-1. Defensively, starting for the Waves of Pepperdine.
Kevin Delamico will be playing in left field. Chris Sheff in center. Matt McElreath will be in right. Across the infield, Mark Wazakowski, Eric Ekdahl at short, Steve Rodriguez at second, Dan Melendez at first, and the catcher is Scott Ballmer.
Be sure not to say Randy.
That will happen probably before the day is over.
Most likely by me. So Evans takes strike two. You notice that both of those strikes, there's some movement in the fastball. He's hit his spot outside low, just about at the catcher's right shin guard. That's a good 2-strike pitch, but it misses. It's 2-2.
And he mimics Hershiser an awful lot. They'll change speeds. They'll pitch spots in and out. Not real overpowering as a pitcher. Has a good hard slider.
Well, you saw that pitch. Now, he's been living on the outside corner for 5 or 4 pitches, and then he tries to come in under the hands of Evans, and Evans had to almost back out of the way from that. Full count to the Rainbow leadoff hitter. Swing and a miss. That'll bring up Rob Williams, the DH. Williams batting left-handed against Ahern.
Last night against Washington, Rob Williams just went 3 for 5, just had 4 RBIs and scored a run. He was the hot hitter last night for the Bows.
Ground ball hit at Steve Rodriguez, who tosses it in time to get Williams. And the batter is Billy Blanchette. Billy having himself a fine tournament. Takes a strike right down the middle.
Pal, you spoke earlier that Mark Wazakowski, third baseman for the Waves, an ex-Rainbow. On the other side of the cone, Billy B, an ex-Wave,
as well
Rainbow,
as
Scott Craven.
See, what happened to those guys is they were recruited by Dave Gorey, and those who were watching the telecast yesterday got a shot of Dave Gorey right here with Coach Jerry Kindle of Arizona. And Billy and Scott both went to Pepperdine for 1 year, but then just before they went up there, Coach Gorey decided to retire, and Andy Lopez got the job, and things just didn't work out. I mean, that's the nicest way to put it, I say. It just didn't work out between the guys. Yeah, Billy was there for 1 year, then transferred back, and Scotty was there for 2 years. But you can see that. I mean, if you inherit a program and you want your own kind of guys in there, and if those guys that are there don't fit, well, you do something else. The count is 2-2 to Billy. Billy batting in his usual third spot for Hawaii.
There's a good look at the bundled up Coach Les Murakami. We visited quite long with him before the game. We sat, probably talked maybe 15 or 20 minutes, which is, talked about golf.
Just missing. So again, Ahern runs the count full. Ahern was able to pitch in the first game. Billy hits the ball to Melendez, who will take the bag himself to retire the Bows in order. So 1 inning has passed, and there's no score. So we'll be back in Tucson after these messages. Javu, Ronnie, you were at the tournament last year at USC.
And this is what happened. They lost in the first round to Minnesota, much like the Bows lost in the first round here in Tucson to southeastern Louisiana. They came back and beat Middle Tennessee State and also beat southeastern Louisiana to avenge that opening loss, much like the Bows did last year when they beat Minnesota the second time. And then now they eliminated the host team at that time, USC, this year Arizona, and here they are in the championship game.
And of course, that Bud Fact brought to you by Budweiser, who wants to remind you to know when to say when. Dan Melendez, the highly publicized first baseman of Pepperdine, has worked to count 2-0. 3-0.
Okay, you're the great scout, pal, and I heard you talking to that one scout today from the Pirates, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're going to evaluate 2 first basemen. Billy Owens from Arizona, Dan Melendez from Pepperdine. 2 very similar type of ball players, or are they very similar? Do you like Melendez more than Billy Owens because he plays better D? Do you like Owens better because he maybe has more power, or is it a wash?
Well, I think Billy Owens has more power, and first base is a power position. So I think it depends on who can make the jump to face professional pitching. So I kind of think I like the Arizona guy.
Billy Owens.
Yep. And the batter is Scott Vollmer, the catcher. 4 pitches in a row has walked the leadoff hitter in the top of the second inning, Dan Melendez. So he's occupying the bag at first. Vollmer turns the bunt but takes a pitch for a strike. It's 1-1. A lot riding on Scott Carl today to bounce back from his ineffective performance last Friday night. A high fly ball into very short right field. Corey Ishiko goes back and makes the catch. You know, one of the things that has been good about the weather here is the fact that there are clouds. And for those who have never caught the ball in a clear sky, it's very, very difficult to do it. You have no points of references, as I like to call them. So when the ball goes up, you actually have no idea how high it is. And when it comes down, I've seen people miss balls in clear sky by 10 to 15 feet.
And in the Midwest, they call it the high sky.
The high sky, that's right. So 1 gone, the batter is David Main, the DH. Big left-hander, takes a curveball for a strike. I think a real big pitch today for Scott Carl, Ronnie, is going to be that slider. You know, he's already thrown it to Wazakowski for an out. So I believe that will be an effective pitch for him in this game. I mean, in other words, what I'm saying is I think that's a pitch that he needs to throw.
And on the right-handed batter, it'll bust in on his fist.
Yeah.
And on the left-handed hitter, it'll kind of maybe slide away from him.
Well, when he's really got it going good is when the ball, now you hear that reverberation that hit right by our crowd microphone.
Like a Holitzer there.
Yeah. Well, when he really has it working well is when the ball will come toward the inside part of the plate low, and then it'll break toward the back foot of a right-handed hitter, and that's the one that he strikes a lot of people out with. So out in front, 0-2. Just missing with that pitch, 1-2. Carl steps back on the rubber. There are a lot of similarities in the teams. We discussed some of them. Melendez goes to pick the first base. Blanchette now throws to Vollmer, who runs Melendez back, and there's a tag. No, he calls him safe. So first base umpire Dick Runchie must have been in a good position to see that there was no tag made. The Bows make a mistake and the Waves get a break. What you have to question here is whether Melendez, in the opinion of first base umpire Dick Runchie, has avoided the tag by 3 feet. And the ball is in the dirt and gets by Harrison. But the batter runner is out for a strikeout. The runner can advance to second base. The third strikeout for Carl. But Melendez has been pushed up into scoring position. Now again, that's a break for the Waves, that the rundown didn't work. And a mistake by Hawaii. So maybe in this batter, Kevin Delamico, who is a left fielder and bats in the 7th spot, we'll get to see whether a mistake will cost him. Ground ball to Scott Craven, fields it nicely, makes the throw. A little wild, but Blanchett comes back to tag the bag for the 3rd out. Pepperdine comes up empty in the top of the 2nd inning. No runs on no hits. They leave a man. The bottom of the 2nd inning will be upon us shortly. Hawaii, he's taken a pitch for a ball and another one, so it's 2-0. A player from each team will be honored at the end of today's game. GTE Hawaiian Chill will go beyond the call and contribute to the General Scholarship Fund of the University of Hawaii. Line drive, foul. The count is 2-1 on the Rainbow left fielder and cleanup hitter. That's another foul ball. 2-2. Ahern did pitch the opening game against Fresno State. Went 6 1/3 innings. Gave up 8 hits. Good for 4 runs. All 4 were earned. He walked 3 and struck out 4. So he's bouncing back here after a couple of days rest. One hopper hit directly at Rodriguez. Franz Ewan has been a hard luck hitter in this tournament, Ronnie. He's hit 4 balls on the button in his last 4 at-bats, and he has not a hit to show for it.
And he was hitting the ball hard today, even in the batting cage when we watched him. He's been swinging the bat real well, and like you say, pal, just hard luck. Hard, but straight at people. Good play by Steve Rodriguez right here. Short throw to first base.
Takes a lot of discipline to stay down on the ball, and Rodriguez does that well. Batter's Kenny Harrison. Just gets the outside corner, 1-1. You can hear the thunder in the background. I don't know if you can hear it at home, but we certainly can hear it here. Base hit into center field. Kenny Harrison does a superb job of hitting that inside low fastball up the middle for the first hit of the game for either team.
And Kenny kind of golfed this thing out there on the inside part of the plate. He stays with it, keeps that shoulder down, and just golfs it into center field for a nice base hit for Kenny Harrison.
I like that shot by the camera, by the way.
The new camera position behind the plate.
New camera position, yeah. And here's Scott Craven. Again, Scott, one of the interesting sidelights, you might say, to this ball game. Mark Wazakowski used to be a Rainbow. Also on the Pepperdine team is David Lovell from Kamehameha. It's always nice to see David and to talk to him. He and Wazakowski have been splitting time at third base. And of course you have the 2 guys on the Hawaii team, Blanchett and Craven, who used to go to Pepperdine. Ground ball, base hit into right field. Harrison holds at second. Consecutive hits now for Hawaii. And you know what, Ronnie? That's 3 in a row that they've hit pretty hard.
Now, they've been hitting him pretty hard, and he had problems with Fresno State. What's really neat about this play is when you see Scotty go with the pitch out in the outside part of the plate, Kenny Harrison has the presence of mind to just delay to let the ball get by him without hitting him. Kenny Harrison, always an alert ball player for the Bows.
The batter will be Sean Rogers, the right fielder. Rogers is batting in the 7th spot this afternoon for Hawaii. 1 out. Harrison at second, Craven at first. We're in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Hawaii, the designated home team in this contest. Ground ball right at Rodriguez, who flips to Ekdahl and who throws to get Rogers at first. So a 4-6-3 double play squelches a mini rally. So 2 innings are in the book. No score.
For the Rainbows in the bottom of the 2nd, no runs, 2 hits, no errors, 1 left on base.
Move to the top of the 3rd inning, scoreless game. Leading off for Pepperdine will be the right fielder, Matt McElreath. And there you see the Lovell family, Mr. and Mrs. Bennett Lovell. We played against each other in high school. When he was at Kamehameha, we played with each other for many years in the old summer leagues and the Puerto Rican winter leagues. Of course, the Lovells are up here to see their son David play for the Waves. The count is 2-0. Now what Scott Carl cannot do is get behind hitters like he walked Melendez to lead off the 2nd inning. He's got to come back. And he's on the way back with a strike. It's 2-1.
He seems to be much sharper today than he was during that first game with Southeastern Louisiana. He seemed somewhat lethargic in that first game, just out of sync.
Well, I agree that he's improved. I don't think he's as sharp as he can be, or as we have seen him. Ground ball hit right back to him. You have to be an athlete as a pitcher, and you've got to field your position once you release the ball. It's a good play right there by Scott Carl. He comes back nicely to get the leadoff hitter in the 3rd inning.
And good reflexes. Saves himself right there. Nice throw. Flip over to Billy B.
One thing to notice is how he gathered himself first before he threw. Don't be in too much of a hurry. The batter is Eric Ekdahl, the shortstop.
And pal, I'd like to take this time to thank Sports Information Director Eddie Noy from University of Hawaii Rainbows and his counterpart Tommy Yoshida back home. The stats have always been accurate. They've been prompt, and we just want to say thank you. He delivers our meal ticket, and I don't think he hears us, but thank you, Eddie.
Ground ball to Vollmer. Tosses over in time for the 2nd out. And Ronnie, I think we should also extend a thank you to the Assistant Sports Information Director here at the University of Arizona, and that is, of course, Dave Hirsch, who's been, very helpful in getting stats to us as well. Also, to the restaurant, Bob Dobbs and our buddy Scott Cummings.
Mike Flores took us over there, the ex-Rainbow coach, and good food. They even gave us a t-shirt to take home as a remembrance. And our floor director just handed me a note and says, thank me.
We want to thank you too, Don. And Jeff for doing all the running around for us. Thank you. But we'll get to that down the line somehow. The count is 0-1 to the leadoff hitter, Rodriguez. 0-2. One of the things that has made Scott Carl a better pitcher this year is the word consistent, because he has shown consistency all year. Last year he'd go through troubled times. He'd just have a down period where he would, for 2 or 3 innings, not be real consistent, and then he'd come back and get people out. Still had a good record last year, but this year he's been nothing but consistent. 1-2 pitch is high and outside. 2-2. There's a strike. Harrison blocks it and throws Rodriguez out at first base. So the inning is concluded in order for Scott Carl. And as we move to the bottom of inning number 3, there's still no score. For Hawaii, Randy Vollmer, the shortstop, he's taken a ball, so it's 1-0. It's 2-0. Having seen Ahern pitch just once, Ronnie, and that was the first night, he doesn't appear to be as sharp now as he was that night as well.
He seemed quicker that first night.
Just missing with that pitch. Breaking ball. So Vollmer showing some plate discipline, laying off that pitch. There's a strike. On the year, Ahern was 13-1. Hawaii has got the only 2 base hits of the ball game. Ground ball, about a 3-hopper up the middle. Nice fielding there by Rodriguez, who tosses Vollmer out. If you need to get it there, Hawaii Pacific Air offers fast 1-day inter-island air cargo service. Rates from just $14.50. So while other airlines prefer to move people, we enjoy keeping business on the move. That means your parcel gets first-class treatment. Hawaii Pacific Air, we put wings on anything. Corey Ishigo steps in. 1 out, bottom of the 3rd inning. Ishigo always representing a tough strike zone. Ground ball just to the right of Rodriguez, and he makes a good throw over. Looks like he's got a pretty good arm too. So a couple of 4-3 putouts get the first 2 outs for Pepperdine. And here's leadoff hitter Eric Evans.
Now back to center fielder, Eric Evans.
Good pitch. Curveball. Down the middle and low. Strike 2. So we're in the championship game here, or at least it is for Pepperdine. Should Hawaii be successful, then the real championship game begins. Swing and a miss, strike 3. So that's the inning for Hawaii. 3 up and 3 down. So as he moves to the 4th, there's still no score. And there you get a look at the mentor of the Pepperdine Waves, Andy Lopez. We had a chance to speak to Coach Lopez about the players he felt and his team were available for the draft next week, and here's what Coach Lopez had to say.
Well, the names that are mentioned most in regards to the professional draft coming up in a week or so are our first baseman Dan Melendez, Derek Wallace, who won't pitch the rest of the tournament, pitched yesterday's ball game. Chris Sheff, our center fielder, Steve Rodriguez, our second baseman, and you know, our name Pat Ahern, the starter tonight, has been mentioned a few times. But the first 3 or 4 young guys have been heavily scouted, and it looks like we're going to lose them in their junior year.
Mark Wazakowski has just led off the inning for Pepperdine with a double down the right field line. The first hit for the Waves. That'll bring up Chris Sheff, the center fielder, a strikeout victim in the first inning. That ball was hit about a yard inside of fair territory. Good job by Rogers to get to it quickly.
That was Scott Carl's 43rd pitch, pal. Ahern after 3 has 35 pitches.
Ground ball hit back to Carl. Good cat-like reflexes on that. Gets the first out. And here's cleanup hitter Dan Melendez, the first baseman. He walked on 4 straight pitches to lead off the second inning. Curveball, strike 1. Rainbow outfield of Ewan, Evans, and Rogers playing straight away. Wazakowski takes his lead from second. Scott Carl likes to do that. No coverage at second base. He just likes to turn and do that. Maybe it's just a thing he likes. It's 1-1. Now in the tournament, Melendez is 1 for 11. In the year, however, he hit .355. A high chopper to Vollmer, who makes a quick throw to first base, and on the play, Wazakowski moves up to third. That'll bring up Scott Vollmer, the catcher. Vollmer hit a towering fly ball to short right field that Corey Ishigo grabbed. His only at bat in the second. So 2 outs, top of the 4th inning, no score. Pepperdine has a runner at third base. Curveball is up high. Vollmer checks his swing. Ball 2. A very interesting tournament here in Tucson, Ronnie. We had the home team gone after 2 days. Southeastern Louisiana beats the Bows in day 1.
In today's paper, Coach Kindle was saying that he's used that as a positive and not a negative, because a lot of his players are coming back. He's got a young team. So he said, unless they get drafted. So he said that gives them a lot of experience to get back into their South Pack next year. He also felt that the quality of the teams in this regional were, you know, as tough as any regional in the country, maybe the toughest here. So he felt that their performance really was subpar, but it was not a shame to lose to the teams that they lost to.
Ground ball to Billy Blanchette. It just about hits the bag, but Billy gets it and touches his bag to retire the side. So although they do threaten in the top of the 4th inning, the Waves come up empty with 1 base hit and they leave a man. No score. We'll be back for the bottom of the 4th. Rainbow lineup will bat this inning. Rob Williams, Billy Blanchette, and Franz Ewan. So Williams had himself a career day yesterday against Washington. Got 3 hits, 4 RBIs. One of the things that Williams does well is he's able to hit the opposite field. Gets out of the way of that pitch. Wazakowski was coming pretty hard from the third base side. Williams pulls this one foul. It's 1-1. Do you like big subs?
Yes.
Subway's foot-long seafood and crab meal deal is so big that it takes 3 hands to eat it. It comes with chips and a 22-ounce soft drink, all for only $6.99 only at Subway. There's ball 2. Two balls and 1 strike to the Rainbow designated hitter. Line drive in the left field. Base hit. It hit the line. Mike Baldwin signals fair, and Williams has himself a double to lead off the 4th.
And Rob Williams continues where he left off last night, pal. He takes an outside pitch here, and he goes with it. Just kind of slaps it, and it's right fair. I mean, right on the line. Good call by Mike Baldwin.
Well, just mentioned, Ronnie, how he can go that way, and he does just that. Baldwin right on it, as you can see in the lower left side of the screen. Now here's Billy Blanchette. Pepperdine led off the inning, their half of the 4th, with a double. Let's see if Hawaii can do a little bit better and score someone. Billy B will advance him by grounding to Rodriguez for the first out. Once again, these are the kind of things that don't go in the scorebook, but Blanchette now has advanced Williams. The only other thing would have been better is some kind of a base hit. So now it's up to Franz Ewan to score Blanchette, his former teammate and current teammate. Ewan has hit the ball hard the last 2 days. Ground ball just to the right of Melendez, who was only playing to first, and Rob Williams scores the first run for the Bows. So 2 are gone. Kenny Harrison will come to bat. The Bulls lead 1-0. Harrison got one of the 3 base hits in the 2nd. Ground ball. Wazakowski leaps, makes the catch, and throws Harrison out of first base. A fine fielding play by third baseman Mark Wazakowski. But the Rainbows break through in the bottom of the 4th inning with 1 run on 1 base hit. They leave no one on, and they now lead 1-0. Game as you get a look at the man that we interviewed. That's Angel Figueroa, a scout for the Pirates. I had an opportunity to talk to Angel, a longtime friend, about scouting, and here's what Angel said. Angel, as a scout for over 30 years, what are some of the things you look for when you come to a tournament like this?
Well, pal, what you're looking for is really backing somebody else's opinion up. These guys have all been scouted. They've all been seen, and all you do is come in and either reinforce the original opinion or change it. Basically, you're not looking for something. You're specifically coming in to see people.
Well, now, can you name some of the players that you've personally signed over the last 30 years?
Well, yeah, of course, the big one is Bonds. A guy by the name of Al Roboski, Jim Gott, Nick Leyva, John Andrews, Greg Terlecki, Aurelio Lopez, Palacios with our club now, Rodriguez with our club now. I've got about 35 guys, pal.
And there you get a look at Angel. He told me right after the interview that I just made history because I just interviewed two men of Mexican descent in order.
He's a colorful gentleman.
He's a colorful guy. You know, of course, the first thing he says, which is what Jimmy and I get all the time, you need a wide-angle lens for us. Yeah, he is a funny guy and a good scout. Leading off is David Main, the DH, and he hits a shot to Franz Ewan in left field, who comes in and makes the catch. So an L7. That was a rope, partner, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he really drilled that. Coach Les has to feel real good right now. You know, he's still got his starting pitcher in. He's well halfway into the game now. He's got to be feeling pretty good. Scott Carl still looks pretty sharp. Is this where he wanted to be, you think, pal, this part of the game with his pitching staff? What are his plans? Does he have it laid out? Does he think second game, or let's just do this first game, and if we get to the second game, then we get to the second game?
Well, I asked him before the game, and I knew the answer. Ground ball gets past Carl, and Carl put the glove down, but not in time. That thing was another shot hit. So that was Kevin Delamico. Watch this. Yikes.
The right fielder, Matt McElwee.
It's a second hit for Pepperdine. And here's Matt McElwee, who turns to bunt and draws it back. Harrison can't find the ball. Now he does. Anyway, I asked Coach Les, and I knew the answer because I've asked him the question before. What's the order after Carl? And he says, I'll tell you this. Whoever's ready is going to pitch. And I said, that's right. There are no sore arms in a tournament like this. I mean, when one loss will send you packing, what you do is, you know, the tough ones come out. The count is 1 ball and 1 strike. But in answer to your question, Ronnie, this is exactly where he wants to be. He'd prefer a few more runs for the home team guys, meaning the Rainbows, for those that don't know that the Rainbows are a home team. And of course, the reason is that this is the guy he's gone with all year as his #1 starter. And the more he can get out of Scott Carl, the better it is. And then if we get into the 7th, 8th, or 9th inning and Carl gets into trouble, then of course you're going to see Tucker come in. That's my guess anyway. The count is 2-1. Runner fakes, but goes back. 3-1.
We also talked about how hard it is for a team in the Rainbows position to come into a situation like today and try and beat the #4 team in the nation twice. In other words, sweeping a doubleheader.
Yeah, it is difficult when you look at the big picture. However, I think they're just playing one game. In other words, this is the game, and they're going to worry about the second game later. There's ball 4, a second walk given up by Carl. And that pushes Delamico into scoring position. With Eric Ekdahl, the shortstop, due up. Because if you lose this game, you go home, right? So you're only playing this game. The second game doesn't mean a thing at this point in time. But when you get to that next game is what we talked about as the underlying theme of this game, is the fact that then it really becomes a true championship game because neutral field.
Neutral field.
And about the same amount of fans on either side. And if you walk into the park and you happen to be wearing green and you're from Arizona, you see the green guys, you go over there.
There's that move again that he loves. Looks like a pirouette on an ice skating. Maybe he likes to ice skate.
Fly ball into right center field. Should be no problem for Evans, who makes the catch. The tag at second base by Delamico, and he's successful in diving in the third. Pepperdine now has runners on the corners with 2 out. And a tough out, and Steve Rodriguez steps to the plate. 2 out, top of the 5th inning, 1-0 in favor of Hawaii. You see these Pepperdine base runners, and it's obvious that they have been taught this. They try to apply pressure on the paths by faking a lot. You saw Wazakowski fake several times from third base. Just now, Delamico does the same thing. When they're on first base, they fake like they're going. So it just constantly puts pressure on people.
Scott Carl does possess a good move to first base. In the first inning, he had. They had a rundown that they blew
to Melendez.
Yes.
It was the lead off the second inning.
The second inning, excuse me. Who on the Rainbow staff left-hander best move, you think?
I think they're probably all about the same. You know, with Largusa, Carl, and Blanchette, they all have similar type of moves. None of them are really great. Ground ball, base hit into right field. Delamico comes in to score. Got a tie ball game. Both teams with 1 run and 3 hits. A good pitch by Carl and a good job of hitting there, Ronnie.
Yeah, Rodriguez just continued that hot bat that he's had throughout the tournament. He's been one of their big sticks, one of their big RBI men.
And here's Mark Wazakowski, who doubled last inning. So Wazakowski doubled to lead off the inning, the 4th inning. Takes the second pitch for a ball, 2-0. So Pepperdine now with runners at first and second. Rodriguez at first and McElreath at second. Clutch RBI by Rodriguez has just scored the first run. Kevin Delamico, who got out on a single. Blocked by Kenny Harrison. It is now 3-0. So far, Scott Carl has given up 3 hits. He's struck out 4, and he's walked 2. And he's on the verge of walking his 3rd. And he does. So the bases are loaded for the Pepperdine Waves with their best hitter up. That is Chris Sheff. In the tournament, Sheff is 7 for 12 before he came into the game today. So now he is 7 for 14. On the year, a good average of .353. If you're a diamond lover, Westport is a place for you. You'll find everything you need for the baseball diamond and more at Hawaii's #1 baseball store. SSK gloves, Mizuno undershirts, Easton and TPX bats. Everything for every ball player. Their professional staff can help you find what you need for your league, team, or even yourself. Stop into Westport in Waipahu or at its location in Kalihi, Hawaii's baseball headquarters. That's Westport. Carl Furutani now has concluded his visit, and you see Eugene Myers, who did a marvelous job yesterday in relief for Hawaii in both games. Tough situation here for Scott Carl. Bases are loaded. And the number 3 hitter, Chris Sheff, at the plate. Curveball, ball 1. Carl taking a while to get the signs from Harrison. Up another curveball, this one for a strike. That looked a little bit low. But in the opinion of chief umpire Larry Wagner, it wasn't. What do you think?
Low. This is the other really, really hot hitter in the tournament right now, Chris Sheff.
It's a good block. Good block by Kenny Harrison. So the count is 2 balls and 1 strike. Ball 3. So Scott Carl was doing a fine job until he runs into this inning. There are 2 outs. Needs to bear down and throw strikes here. Ground ball to the left of a diving Vollmer. That will score a couple of runs for Pepperdine. And they're now ahead 3-1. A clutch single right here by Sheff, Ronnie.
And the hot bats of Steve Rodriguez and there by Chris Sheff continue to propel the Waves as they score 2 runs on a base hit up the middle.
And here's Dan Melendez looking for his first hit. Takes a curveball for a strike. 3 runs on 4 hits now for Pepperdine. 1 run on 3 hits for Hawaii. So the Waves have broken through here the top of the inning. And a ground ball hit to Corey Ishigo, who should have no problem and does not. So the side is retired after Pepperdine has sent 8 men to the plate in the top of the 5th inning. And they score 3 runs and are now ahead 3-1. And these are some yesterday scores from the Central Regional. Texas, Virginia Commonwealth victorious. And also right now, and we don't know the final, of course, but Texas is playing Virginia Commonwealth for the championship. In the Midwest, Wichita State, Minnesota, and Oklahoma State. Minnesota was eliminated on that. Now Miami today is playing Notre Dame, and we do have a final on that, and we'll report that as well later. But Miami did defeat Notre Dame, and they are headed to the College World Series. So at the bottom of the 5th inning is when the field work takes place. Now with Hawaii ahead 1-0, this young man here, Chris Sheff, hits a bullet up the middle that scores McElreath and Rodriguez. When the bases were loaded during that inning, Scott Carl walked 2 people, and he gave up 3 hits, leading to the 3-1 Pepperdine lead. So Hawaii will send to the plate in the bottom of the 5th inning Scott Craven, Sean Rogers, and Randy Vollmer. The 6, 7, and 8 hitters in the Rainbow Order. Craven hit a single in the second inning and was a lead out on a double play. So on the afternoon, he is 1 for 1. Swing and a miss. 0-2. You can always tell the type of pitcher or the heart of a pitcher by what he does after his team has scored some runs. We'll see if Ahern can bear down here. Craven fouls that off. Having trouble on what to serve for that next graduation party? Then listen up. The people at Marion's are experts in planning that special menu. From international, Hawaiian, Japanese, and other island favorites, Marion's will handle all your catering needs worry-free. So call Marion's Catering. You'll be glad you did. Swing and a miss. That's a third strikeout for Pat Ahern. Ahern, the ace of the Pepperdine staff. The batter is right fielder Sean Rogers. I think one of the special things about this year, Ronnie, is the fact that Hawaii has used all of their people. I mean, one of the best things I heard Coach Murakami say at the closing banquet last week was that a guy like Chris Duggar, who unfortunately gets hurt and has surgery on his hand, he's not able to play, yet the team doesn't even skip a beat. And the other thing that I thought was really good was that everybody on the team can play. They really have no guys on the bench that cannot be called upon to play without producing. I mean, so in other words, he's got a lot of confidence in everybody on the team. And I think when a coach has that kind of confidence in his players, that you know, it's a good positive environment to be in.
When I talked to him at the beginning of the season, I told him, boy, you got a lot of pitchers this year. He said, I got a lot of everything. He said, we have a lot of depth. He said, we'll be able to platoon when we've got a right-handed pitcher throwing against us or a left-handed pitcher throwing against us. And we saw that exactly throughout the tournament. Whenever the Bows faced a left-handed pitcher, they put in what he called his right-handed lineup. And then he also, when he had a right-handed pitcher, would come with his left-handed lineup, which is what we're seeing today.
And it's a good point you bring up, because you look at yesterday's lineup, the games were different. And today's lineup, he's got the lefties in, as you said. Good pitch, breaking ball in there for a strike. It's 2-2. And the reason I bring up the point is because all the other teams, when you look at their lineup, it's the same every game. I mean, Southeastern Louisiana just said, called up to us and said, same lineup. And that was from Friday to yesterday. Ball 3. So I also think that Ahern deserves watching at this point in the game, having gone over 6 innings on Friday night. And he hasn't been that sharp in throwing strikes, but he's showing a little bit on the mound. Swing and a miss. Looked like a questionable pitch. So Rogers now becomes the 4th strikeout victim. And that will bring up Randy Vollmer, the shortstop. We'll take a look at this, Ron. You tell me what you think. Is this a questionable pitch or not?
Very questionable.
When you want a pitcher to throw, that is where you want him to throw. See that pitch right there? If he's going to miss, you want your pitchers to miss down.
And not up.
Yeah, I want to say hello to my Colt League baseball team. Apparently they were very successful on Saturday and Sunday, and right about now they all should be home from their 10 o'clock game on Monday. So nice going, guys. 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Vollmer. And of course, we want to extend our best wishes, as usual, to the man himself, James Leahy. What he's doing today, well, maybe building a wall.
He cleaned yard yesterday.
A throw by Ekdahl is in time to retire the side. So in order, the Bulls go in the bottom of the 5th. So as we go to the 6th, it's Pepperdine 3, Hawaii 1. Scott Vollmer has led off for the Waves, and he's popped one to Corey Ishigo. Second time he's done that in a game. So with one out, the batter will be DH David Main with a screamer to lead off the 5th, the big inning for the Wave. Hit a shot to Franz Ewan. I know what Jimmy's doing today. He's cleaning his bike. So crank it up, big boy. We'll be home soon. We have to take that tour around the island, he and I again.
Around Waimea Bay.
Yeah. The count is 1-1. One of the things you and I discussed coming into the park today, Ronnie, was that to win a doubleheader at this tournament, this type of competition, the intensity of this competition is very difficult, and that you really need breaks.
Yeah, things have to go your way. I mean, you know, the little ball that's 1 inch fair or 1 inch foul.
Yeah. You know,
an umpire's call.
A walk that can advance and score. Craig Tucker is warming up with Eugene Myers. And the ball hits him. We get another look at it. Gets him right under the right armpit. The one out runner at first base. The batter is Kevin Delamico. 1 for 2. Rainbow bullpen is really cranking it up. Well, there's not a threatening situation. It leads me to believe that Carlos said he's tired. Ground ball to Vollmer, who flips to Ishigo, who makes a throw, not in time, but a good cover by Kenny Harrison. Holds a runner to first base.
This ball took a while to get to Randy, who makes a good play here. What happens here is just arm strength on Corey Ishigo. He just can't seem to get it over there. It almost looked like he had a knuckleball grip on the ball when he threw it to first. He didn't have a good hold on the ball.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he didn't have firm control of the ball. And the batter is Matt McElreath, the right fielder. 0 for 1. He scored a run. Now the runner at first base, Kevin Delamico. Now remember, these are the guys that have stolen 100 bases out of 146 attempts. And Delamico 2 for 6 on the year. Now Pepperdine, I believe, moved to its current location in Malibu in the early 70s, 73, 4, 5, around there. I'm not certain as to the exact date. Almost picked off. Delamico looked like he took his eye off of Carl for a minute, because their former campus was not real pretty.
And this one is really
This one is really nice, yeah. quick pick. Both were called safe, but both were very close. We'll get a look at it again right after this pitch. There's a foul ball. See how he steps off with his left foot and the quick pick. That's a good call. Huh? Yeah. But with 2 outs, the count is 0-2 to McElreath.
A lot of times when you tag a guy and you have that quick tag and you show the glove to the ump real quick, there's a tendency for him to want to pump it. And then the fans feel that too because it's such a quick tag. And I think a lot of coaches teach that quick tag and show ball.
One of the things you'll notice about some first basemen is they don't have their feet right up against the bag. When you look at Billy, he will not have his feet right up against first base. And the reason is that if he has to go after a ball, the base can trip him. Strike 3. That's the 5th strikeout for Scott Carl, and the inning is concluded. So as we move to the bottom of the 6th inning, it still remains Pepperdine 3 and Hawaii 1. Corey Ishigo will lead off for Hawaii in the bottom of the 6th inning. Hawaii facing a deficit of 2 runs, behind in this contest 3-1. Pat Ahern, the ace of the Pepperdine staff, is the pitcher. Now beginning his 6th inning of work. He's given up 1 run on 3 hits. A ground ball base hit into right field. Hit number 4 for Hawaii.
Corey Ishigo possesses just tremendous hand-eye coordination. Sits back on this thing. It's an inside pitch. Picks it up on that front hip as quickly as he can and just pulls it between first and second base.
Well, he has 1 home run to his credit on the road to Utah. And he almost hit one out at Rainbow Stadium, which is no small feat. I mean, hitting it to right field, hitting just the base of the wall. So for a little guy, he can swing it. Here's Eric Evans, a strikeout victim twice. He squares the bunt, takes a strike. You usually don't see the Rainbows bunt down by 2 runs. But Coach Murakami now wants to push that runner into scoring position. And also with Evans' speed, you may want to push the ball down toward first base. I bet that's what he'll do too, because Melendez is coming down the line. Second baseman Rodriguez is still playing deep, and he's hustling toward first base. Count is 1-1. A bunt attempt is foul.
A player from each team will be honored at the end of today's game. GTE Hawaiian Tel will go beyond the call and contribute to the General Scholarship Fund of the University of Hawaii.
Well done, Doc.
Thank you. I read well.
I hope so, being an eye doctor. 1-2. Can you imagine an eye doctor who didn't read well? Oh my. There goes the practice. So Evans assuming a 1-2 count. Once in a while in your career as a hitter, you come across a guy that you flat cannot hit. Okay, there was a guy from the University of Utah that just baffled me for 3 years. I hated this guy. He was a nice guy, but I hated him because I struck out almost every time I went up against the guy.
Remember his
and
name?
I rarely struck out. Yeah, his last name was Hardy. And this could be the guy for Eric Evans, as he's now a hat trick victim. 3 strikeouts. That is also the 5th strikeout for Pat Ahern. So 1 out, and the batter is Rob Williams.
You know, pal, Rob Williams may be one of the leading candidates for all-tournament DH.
Well, I think so, too. He's going to get my vote. I know he's going to get yours.
He hit a double last night with the bases loaded, and that kind of broke the game open with the Huskies back in the 5th inning last night.
Yeah, that was a big double for him and for the Bows. Line drive in the right field, base hit. Ishigo will stop at second base. The second hit for Rob Williams. You know, Doc, before the game, a bunch of the guys and I were just sitting around talking, and Rob comes up, and I look at him and I said, we're not even going to talk to you. And, of course, the reason is that you don't want to change anything. You don't want him to think about anything else. I said, just keep doing what you're doing, buddy. And he is, and he's got 2 hits for himself today. There's that baseball mystique again, which is, of course, the reason we're wearing our caps.
Yes.
Because we didn't wear caps the first day and they lost, so we started wearing the caps, and we don't care if it's night or not, and it's rapidly turning into that here. We are wearing our caps because so far the Bows have won when we wear our caps.
And you know what I've got in my pocket? I got a little penny. That first day we were here, when the Bows got done practicing, they all left the dugout, and I was just kind of walking through the dugout with the rest of the boys from the crew, and I looked down and I saw a penny lying in the dugout when the Bows walked out with heads. It was showing heads. So I put it in my pocket, and I've had it in my pocket ever since.
Don't lie, you just wanted the penny. It's 0-1 to Billy. 0-2.
And Riley Wallace, the basketball coach, says that if you find a coin and it's heads up, you know, you're in good shape. You're going to win something. So
no wonder basketball coaches or coaches in general are always walking with their head down. I know I do. I think there's nothing that Billy Blanchette would rather do than to be successful against the team that he used to play for. Same thing with Craven. So 1 out, bottom of the 6th inning, 3-1 Pepperdine. The Bows have runners on first and second. Rob Williams at first, and Corey Ishigo at second. Billy Blanchette has an 0-2 count on him.
And Billy's another candidate for the all-tournament team at first base.
The Pepperdine fans go, oh, but Vollmer was way outside. That pitch must have been a foot outside. Good 2-strike pitch anyway. It's 1-2. Ball 2-2. No activity in either bullpen right now. You see Tyler Sheff standing with Kevin Curtis down in the Rainbow bullpen.
And we'd like to say hi to Tyler Sheff's girlfriend back in Honolulu, Tracy Miyashiro.
Tyler wants to say hello. It's not only his girlfriend, Doc, it's his fiance.
Fiance. And if it's the same Tracy Miyashiro, I think I know who she is. Nice, cute, short little Japanese girl from the country out in Mililani. If it is the same person, though.
What if it's not? But anyway, Tyler wants to say hello to Tracy. Count is 2-2 to Blanchette. Line drive, base hit into left center field. The left fielder Delamico gives chase. Ishigo comes around to score. 3-2 Hawaii.
And just what you said, pal, there's nothing better than getting a hit against your ex-teammates, and Billy B does deliver here in a clutch situation.
And that'll bring up Franz Ewan with Rob Williams at second base, Billy Blanchette, Rob Williams at third base, excuse me, and Billy Blanchette at second. Franz swings and misses. 0-1. Three to 2 now, Pepperdine. Still no activity in the Pepperdine bullpen.
You know, last night as we were leaving, you spoke with the Husky head coach,
Bob McDonald.
and asked him and congratulated him on a fine tournament. And he complimented, saying the Bows and Pepperdine, saying that that's the level that he wants to bring his team to. He said that the Bows and Pepperdine represent the type of teams that he would like to pattern his team. Would you like to, would you like to expand on that? I mean, do you think that these are perhaps the two foremost type of teams, like from the West region? No question.
Well, no, pretty close. I mean, you have other teams. You know, UCLA, Cal Berkeley's also qualified for the CWS. As another strike is in there, 1 and 2. But it's that level of competition that Coach McDonald said he wants to raise his team. What he said was he wants to get a comparison as to how good they need to get. You see, so he said his recruiting's going real well too. So for all you Husky fans back in Honolulu, things could be looking up for them. Ball 2 way outside, 2-2. In the beginning of the game, Ron and I did discuss that we thought it was going to be a closely contested game, that it probably could be decided in the latter part of the game. And with Hawaii the home team in a close game, see, anytime it's a close game, you like to be home team. Catcher moves outside. Ewan fouls it back to the screen. It remains 2-2. Ted Kimura and Island Termite want to protect your home from termites, roaches, and ants from causing serious damage. Deal in confidence with Island Termite. Call now for a free estimate and let Island Termite show you why bugs leave home. That's Island Termite at 845-9565. Okay, I'll wait a little while for you to get your pencil. 845-9565. The 2-2 pitch. It hits Ewan. So the sacks are jammed with rainbows as Kenny Harrison strides to the plate. 1 out, bottom of the 6th inning.
And this pitch just runs right up and hits him on the ankle, his right ankle. And that's a real tender place right there where your Achilles is.
Harrison is 1 for 3. He singled sharply to center field in the 2nd. And Wazakowski at third base made a high leaping jump and a fine play in the 4th. Andy Lopez, now the coach of the Waves, is making an appearance on the mound. And since no one is warming up in the bullpen, that's all it will be, a conference. I guess when you're 13-1, this is the kind of respect you get. You know, other teams would have had people up there, especially after he pitched on Friday, and he's battling right now. William Gideon Blanchette jogs back to second base.
In front of the watchful eye of Coach Lopez.
You know, a gentleman came up to the booth a little while ago, about 2-3 days ago. His name is Bert Santiago, and he wanted us to say, he said, is this televised back home? And I said, yes. And he said, can I say hello to my auntie and uncle Alec and Charlotte Assis of Pearl City? So we're doing that. Harrison fouls it off. One of the things that always amazes me about coming to the continent is when you come to a city like Tucson, how spread out it is. Phoenix. We had an opportunity to visit Phoenix the other night. Count is 0-1 to Harrison. Ground ball just to the right of Ekdahl, who boots it. Tying run scores in Rob Williams.
Now here, pal Eldridge, maybe just what you talked about earlier in the game, that little break, that little bit of luck. Possible ground ball double play booted by the shortstop Eric Ekdahl right here, enabling Rob Williams to score.
Well, Ekdahl had 12 errors all year. And the batter is Scotty Craven, in a position to deliver a big blow against his former team. And if you think that is not going through the minds of Blanchett and Craven, you're mistaken. Because you know they want a deal right here. The bases are loaded in the bottom of the 6th inning. The game is tied at 3. Blanchett at 3rd, Ewan at 2nd, and Harrison at 1st, taking a big lead. 1-0 the count to Scott Craven. Misses outside low. 2-0. There's a bit of stirring in the Waves bullpen right now. A left-hander is up. A high fly ball to right center field. That gets in there for a base hit. Blanchett scores. Here comes Franz Ewan. Kenny Harrison comes around 3rd. He will score. Scott Craven, a 3-run triple.
Describe this, Scotty Craven wanting so badly to do so well against his ex-team, and this is just plain power into the depths of right center field. Chicken skin on that hit.
Yes, indeed. So with Craven at 1st, still 1 out. Batter is Sean Rogers. Infield now will be playing in for Pepperdine. Ground ball to Melendez. Craven comes back, and now he goes back to 3rd base, and they call him out at 3rd. So a big inning for Hawaii, as they have scored 5 runs on 4 base hits, and they now lead 6-3.
When you want a moment to last, use a videotape that will. Superior picture, superior sound. Maxell, more than just a pretty picture.
But right here, when Rogers hits the ball to Melendez, Scott Craven has started toward home. And he slips a bit as Melendez, very heads up, throws the ball across the diamond to get a Craven diving back into 3rd. That'll bring up Eric Ekdahl. A big error continued the inning last inning for Hawaii. 6 runs, 7 hits for Hawaii, 3 runs, 4 hits for Pepperdine. And there's strike 2. 0-2. So Scott Carl now has got a get out there, show poise, and know very well that his team has just scored 5 runs in a huge bottom of the 6th inning. Swing and a miss. That's 6 strikeouts now for Carl. Which brings up Steve Rodriguez, the second baseman and leadoff hitter for the Waves. Craig Tucker is beginning to loosen up for Hawaii in the bullpen. Curveball that slashed foul, 0-1. Here you get a look at Craig.
Steve Rodriguez was somewhat not recruited, but watched by Les Murakami when he was in Las Vegas. And Coach Les said at that time he thought he was not quite strong enough to come into the Bull program. And I think he subsequently went to junior college to get stronger and quicker.
Well, when you look at him now, though, he looks pretty thick. I mean, and this is what happens to young men when they get into a college program, because weights are an integral part of it, and they always get stronger. There's a ball, which evens the count at 2. Yeah, it's very difficult to say which is the toughest regional. I do think that this was one of the tougher ones, though. And he's hit by the pitch. That's that slider that we talked about earlier. The second hit batsman.
And where it hits him, pal, is exactly what you said that slider will do sometimes. It'll come in on your feet.
Yeah, I was mistaken, Ronnie. I'm sorry. That was a changeup. You can always tell when Carl throws the changeup because you can see the fingers off the ball. And here's Mark Wazakowski with 1 out. And Rodriguez at first base.
Here's an example of someone who's gotten a little bit taller, too. He looks a little taller and a little bit bigger.
Yeah, he does. Curveball in there for a strike, 0-1. Another close attempt at first base. Ground ball to Ishigo. A 4-6-3 double play concludes the inning. Well-turned DP ends the inning for Pepperdine. And they do not score, so as we head to the bottom of the 7th, it is now Hawaii 6 and Pepperdine 3.
If you're into looking good, get into Bud Light. The clean, fresh taste won't fill you up, never let you down.
You can taste it, feel it, know you got it right. 'Cause everything else is just a light. Just a light. Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. Just a light. Everything else is just a light.
Hawaiian guarantees that I am on time.
Hawaiian flies me on time all the time. I look at the schedule every day, and I know we're flying on time.
I always fly Hawaiian now because we can't afford to be late.
It's pretty simple. Hawaiian is on time.
Hawaiian Airlines, on-time departure, flight 316.
All the time.
So, well, now they're on time, but they were always late before.
Not always. No. At times, yes.
They were.
No.
There are just a few things that make a man special to me. He's got to be big and strong. He has to know how to dance. And it would be nice if he could speak another language. Well, you can't have everything.
Sumo, complete coverage of the Tokyo tournament continues tonight on KHNL 13.
Randy Vollmer leads off for Hawaii in the bottom of the 7th. Time is called as Scott Vollmer goes out to the mound. We want to thank some of the Southwest Television Production Services people who have helped us up here on camera. Larry Myers, Craig Chapman, Gary Burke, Scott Olson, Tom La Rochelle, and Joe Chitwood. Also on tape, Scott Geyer, Scott Kelso on video, Scott Tuckman, Fred Domeniconi, I'm sorry, Jeff Smeltzer, and Don Abbott. Thank you for all of your help, especially you up here, Don. And also to our friend over there, Rich Toby. The count is 3-0 to Vollmer. No, check that. It's 2-1. The board is wrong. That's odd.
Hasn't been right all tournament.
2-2.
We have some. There's our notorious scoreboard. We have some current scores here as we see Vollmer striking out. In the Atlantic, Miami, this is the final. Miami 5, Notre Dame 1. As we see the strikeout again on Randy Vollmer.
Oh my. Bad call.
And the other score from the Central, still in progress, the top of the 6th, it's Texas 9, VCU or Virginia Commonwealth 2.
And here's Corey Ishigo, who led off the big inning, last inning, with the single that started the ball rolling for Hawaii. If you get a look at Corey, is he excited or what? Another base hit into right field for the redshirt freshman from Kailua. That's hit number 8 now for the Post. Which will bring up Eric Evans. Kelly Fair now is going to pinch run for Corey.
And we have seen this throughout the tournament, pal. What Coach Les does in the later innings, if he's got some sort of a lead and wants to go with some good defense, he will bring in Kelly Fair for defensive purposes. He of the big gun, the strong arm, in place of Corey Ishigo.
What are you getting excited, man?
And Eric Evans is talking to the umpire, probably telling him how to spell fair. If he, in fact, knows how to spell it himself. Evans is 0 for 3. Ahern has struck out 6 rainbows, and Evans is 3 of those 6 slashes.
Come on, E. Get the pressure on. Two-way right here.
Sometime when a guy is struggling like this, what you do is you force him to swing the bat by putting a hit and run on. Then you concentrate a little more. Strike on the outside corner. Looked like a strike that was in the middle of the left-handed batter's box. Nevertheless, it's still a strike. And a bunt attempt gets past the catcher, Vollmer. Now, I'm sure we're going to have a discussion as to whether this is a ball or a strike. It goes ball on the board. But in my opinion, he went after it. If it is indeed a ball, he did go after it. Watch this. Yes, he did.
Maybe the scoreboard's wrong.
Yeah, without benefit of replay, though, it's 1-1. Maybe the scoreboard is wrong? Why say you, Doc? 1-1. 2-1. Evans got away with that one. Or he was 2/3 toward a sombrero.
Great time to try and fast bunt for a base hit here. I mean, great time. He's struggling at the plate. First baseman is playing out in right field.
And he touches one. 2-2. And I feel for Eric Evans. I'll tell you, I've been in that position before. And those of you at home that are watching, you can think of the one pitcher. Maybe if you're not so lucky, it's been more than one pitcher. But the one pitcher in your past that owned you.
And, you know, 20 years later, you run into the same guy at the Simon stand or something, and he looks at you with that look like, I own you.
Yeah.
It never goes away.
I still do that to a guy that, when I was 12. Swing and a miss. That's strikeout number 7. And it's the 4th for Eric Evans. See, that's called a sombrero. Here's Rob Williams. Fly ball, foul. Of course, 5 is the golden sombrero. Then there's a 6 because a guy in the big league struck out last year, and I've tried to find it.
6 times.
Yes.
What do you call it? What do you call it?
I don't know. This is what it's a nickname for this guy. I mean, it's called this guy's last name. And I've been looking through all my reading materials for months trying to find it, and I can't. It's probably in a Sports Illustrated box out in the garage. 0-1 now. The count to Rob Williams. It's 1-1. Rob Williams has just been hitting out of his head up here. He's so far in this game, he's 2 for 3, a single and a double, and he has scored 2 of the Rainbow 6 runs. Swing and a miss, 1-2. That gets by Vollmer. Williams on his way to first base, and he's safe at first base. On the play, Kelly Fair moves over to third. So record a strikeout in the book and a wild pitch.
Heads-up play here by Rob Williams. Swings at a bad pitch. It gets away from the catcher, Scott Vollmer. Good hustle job. And he's safe by a couple of strides at first.
Andy Lopez, the coach of Pepperdine, is walking toward the mound. We're going to get a new pitcher who'll come in and replace Pat Ahern, and while he's coming in to warm up, we're going to take this opportunity to show you a few commercial messages. We'll be back. Jeff Myers, a junior from Carlsbad. You know who else is from Carlsbad?
Scott Carl.
That's right.
And now if Eugene Myers comes in to pitch for the Bulls, you're going to have 2 Myers, 2 Vollmers, and 2 chefs.
Did we talk about the similarity of these teams or what, huh?
This is incredible.
Balance. It's balance. It really is. Well, Myers is still warming up, and Billy Blanchette strides to the plate. We have Bowes on the corners. Kelly Fair is at third, and Rob Williams, who actually struck out on a pitch in the dirt, but the ball got by Vollmer, the catcher. And he's on first. In the 6th inning, Billy Blanchette hit a double into left center field to score Williams, as well as Ishiko, that tied the game. Billy getting another chance here to deliver for his team. Jeff Myers appears to be a hard-throwing relief pitcher. And speaking of relief, escape to the Sheraton Makaha It's a perfect place where company meetings or executive retreats. Plus, there's tennis, horseback riding, and Oahu's highest-rated golf course. Call the Sheraton Makaha for details. Myers having definite difficulty finding the strike zone. 3-0 now the count to Blanchette. Harold Kebab has stepped into the batter's circle. Of course, because Myers is left-handed, they're going to put Kebab in as a right-handed hitter. Even though Franz Ewan is a switch hitter, he's better from the left side. There's a strike. 3-1. And while Pat Ahern was in there, pitched 6 2/3 innings, gave up 6 runs on 8 base hits. Ground ball just to the right of Rodriguez, who flips to Ekdahl. So Billy B hits the ball hard and is forced at first base. Hawaii comes up empty in the bottom of the 7th inning. They still lead 6-3. We'll be back for the 8th. We move to the top of the 8th inning. The Bows have 6 outs to go to continue this tournament. Kelly Fair has replaced Ishigo. Harold Kebab is in left field. And Double D Dwayne Daughtry is now in right. Leading off the 8th for Pepperdine is Chris Sheff, the center fielder. 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs. There's a strike. Scott Carl now beginning his 8th inning of work. He's given up just 4 hits. Craig Tucker continues to warm for Hawaii. And he throws a change-up curveball, Ronnie, for a strike. That's a pitch we haven't seen all that much tonight. He moves Sheff off of the plate with that. Tucker was really fired up last night to come in. You could tell. I've never, ever seen him pitch as well as he did last night. I mean, he did a superb job for Hawaii. The first 5 pitches he threw were strikes.
Then he got to play first base to finish up the game.
Yeah, made a great grab. Ground ball to the left of Scott Craven, who gathers himself and makes a throw in time to get the Sheff. Dan Melendez will step in. Melendez is 0 for 2 with a walk. Once again, a pivotal game for both clubs, especially for the Bows. A win here makes it an even-Steven tournament, and the championship game will be played next. Strike 1, 1-1. Now, the way Carl pitched to Sheff and also right now to Melendez, this is the way we've seen him pitch all year. Change up.
And thus far, he's doing what Coach Les has asked him to do. Stay in, keep the Rainbows in this tournament without using more pitchers than they really need to, thinking that we win this, we have to play another game.
There's a hard shot at Homer, takes a bad hop on him, and he has no play, and he throws it anyway. Above the dugout, Melendez goes to second base. Not a very intelligent play by shortstop Randy Vollmer. It hit him pretty hard because the ball was hit hard. But look how far he has to go for it, Ronnie, and then he tries to make the throw. Yeah, he is having some difficulty with the gripping of the ball because of his the last two fingers on his throwing hand as he dove in to second base the other night. But that wasn't it was the decision that was bad. Scott Vollmer has this grounded 3-1. And on that play, I think they gave Vollmer 2 errors. First, the error allowing Melendez to get the first, and he clearly was. And the second, to get him the second. So Melendez now is on at third base, and 2 are out. David Main, the designated hitter, is the scheduled batter. We're going to get a pinch hitter. Number 21, Matt Nuez, has come out. He's swinging the pipe, getting ready for an at-bat. Nuez is a junior from Lakewood, California. Transfer from San Jose State.
He appeared in a similar role last night against Southeastern Louisiana. Pinch hit. Came to bat once, no hits. In fact, he struck out.
So as Nuez prepares himself to hit, with 2 outs, top of the 8th inning, Pepperdine has a runner at third base. Well, getting back to that play by Randy Vollmer, the 2 errors mentioned, 1 to allow Melendez to get the first, but 2 to get him the second error. Now, it really wasn't the fact that his fingers were sore that he made the bad throw, but it was the decision to throw, because clearly Melendez was safe at first base, and so the throw really shouldn't have been made. Didn't quite have time to expand on that point. Ground ball just to the left of Kelly Fair, who makes a nice play and throws Nuez out at first base, and the inning is over. So the top of the 8th inning is in the books. Hawaii needs 3 outs defensively to let the tournament continue. Summer baseball is just around the corner with the Hawaii Island Movers baseball team featuring several of your favorite UH Rainbow Stars. The home season opens on July 11th. So call 848-5203 for information. 848-5203. Some of the teams coming in: Lake Tahoe, Mendocino Blue Jays with more bows on that. The Gold Panthers of Fairbanks, the Anchorage Bucks also with some bows on that. And then the Hawaii International Baseball Tournament in early August. So batting for Franz Ewan is Harold Kabab, who took over in left field at the top of the inning. Chris Duggar is on deck. Ground ball over Wazakowski for a base hit. This is the 9th hit overall by Hawaii, and the first off of the new pitcher, Myers.
It almost looks like an AstroTurf type base hit for Harold Kabab. It looks like an old Rainbow Stadium hit.
Which will bring up Chris Duggar, hitting for Kenny Harrison. Coach Lopez is on the mound. Hasn't motioned to the pen yet. That's number 40.
Adam Housley.
Ah, a sidewinder. You haven't played this game unless you face a guy like that. They're scary. Coach Lopez is making a change. So while that is being accomplished, we have some more special messages to show you. The new pitcher, as Ron said, is Adam Housley, a right-hander, a sidewinder. And again, you haven't played this game unless you face a guy like him. We'll be back after these messages. Adam Housley is a new pitcher, a sophomore from Napa. Oh, that's a great part of California up there. A big guy majoring in political science. He's pitched in the game 2/3 of an inning. Chris Duggar turns around to bunt. And he fouls it back, and it hits the catcher. The count is 0-1. Hal Kebab at first. No outs. Bottom of the 8th inning. 6-3 Hawaii.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think Pepperdine plays too many games at night, Cal. In fact, this year, I don't think they played very many at all, because in the papers today, they made a comment during the tournament if Pepperdine had ever, played nights before, and Coach Lopez said not frequently.
Kebab goes, and Duggar fouls the pitch off. Kebab had a good jump, too. And when you look at the pitcher, Housley, he has an unusual delivery, to say the least, and he also has an unusual stretch position. So when he gets into the set, his left foot is a lot closer to third base. So he's got a very closed position here, and that's all obviously because he's an underhand pitcher or a sidearm guy. So Duggar now with an 0-2 count. Kebab goes, a pitch out, swing and a miss, a throw in time, double play. Boy, I'll tell you, perfect time for a pitch out, and a good accurate throw by the catcher, Scott Vollmer.
Good call by Pepperdine here. Scott Vollmer, nice throw, and the tag being applied at second base by Steve Rodriguez. There's another look at it. It went on the third base side of the bag. Good tag by Steve Rodriguez.
The first strikeout for the pitcher, Housley. That's probably because it was his first batter he faced. So 2 gone. Nobody on base. Scott Craven has an 0-1 count on him. Swings and misses. Strike 2. It's not that underhand pitchers are so devastating. What happens is you just don't see very many of them. So when you face a guy like this, I mean, you really, what you tend to do is step in the bucket. You saw Craven do just that. But after a while, they become like any other pitcher if you see them more. I mean, how many guys have you seen this entire season? I mean, we've seen every rainbow baseball game played in Honolulu and in Arizona, and I believe this is only the second guy I've seen. There have been a lot of pitchers coming our way this year. So it's 2-2.
Not that many in the majors either now.
No.
Kenta Covey.
And Quisenberry were the last ones.
Yeah.
So at the completion of this inning, a big defensive inning for Hawaii, as they have to go out there and record 3 outs and not allow Pepperdine to score 3 runs or more. No activity in either bullpen. The important one at this point for Hawaii would be their bullpen, because that means Scott Carl is going to go back to the mound. And I think you have to let him do that. Up high. So Housley goes 0-2 on Craven and then throws 3 pitches out of the zone. 3-2. Fly ball foul into the seats, right field side. Pepperdine got to the championship game by defeating 3 teams. Ronnie discussed that earlier. They defeated Fresno State, Southeastern Louisiana, and then Washington. A short fly ball to right field. And it falls in there for a base hit. Craven now goes around, and he stops at second base. I thought he was going to go around to third. Concern now for the right fielder. Or is it the second baseman, Rodriguez? It's Rodriguez.
And I don't know if it's the lights or what happens, but they collide here on the ground, and he gets kicked in the face with the right foot.
He gets spiked, yep. Certainly does. So chalk up another base hit for Scott Craven. That makes him 3 for 4 on the evening. But the way Scotty was heading towards second base, the way he made the turn, I actually thought he was going to continue to third base. That's the first hit off of Housley. And again, hit number 10 for Hawaii. And the batter will be Dwayne Daughtry, who took over for Rogers at the top of the inning in right field. We have seen Dwayne Daughtry swing at that pitch for many years. I guess not many, a few years. He's always been going after that pitch, and once in a while he'll hit it. But it's 0 for 1 now. I mean, 0-1 now. That was close, but it misses. 1-1.
And they both continue to swing the hot pipe after that first game in the tournament. They're again in double digits. 10 hits this game. The line reads 6 runs, 10 hits. They've committed 2 errors on the same play by the same person.
Fly ball to right field. McElreath comes in, makes the catch for the 3rd out. So a big inning coming up for Hawaii. If they want this tournament to continue, they must record 3 outs. Don't go away. We'll be back for the 9th. Players of the game are Chris Sheff from Pepperdine and Scott Craven from the University of Hawaii. GTE Hawaiian Tel is pleased to make a contribution to the General Scholarship Fund of the University of Hawaii. GTE Hawaiian Tel, be on the call. And there's our player of the game. 3 for 4 performance. Tyler Sheff has made an appearance in the lineup. He'll be catching now in place of Kenny Harrison. We're in the top of the 9th inning here at the West Regionals in Tucson, Arizona. The Rainbows have a 6-3 lead. Leading off for Pepperdine is Kevin Delamico, the left fielder. He'll be followed by Matt McElreath, the right fielder, and Eric Ekdahl, the shortstop. Scott Carl now needs 3 outs to propel the Bows into the championship game of this tournament. Throws a strike, it's 1-1. A foul ball over the stance. 1-2. This is the kind of time I know as a coach that you want your players to go out there and just feel it, taste it. It's right within your grasp. Now go out and do it and grab it. And I think one of the things coaches dislike is to see somebody look timid on the mound in this kind of situation. Scott Carl doesn't look timid. Swing and a miss. That's out number 1. And strikeout number 7. But you know, one of the things that I really believe in, and I feel that when a young man gets into this kind of position, anybody on this field right now, that it's a lifelong memory. And if you don't do well, but you've really given it your best effort, then that's okay. Because in your whole life, you'll know, I tried my best. But if you go out there and you know you're a little bit scared and you're timid, you don't want the ball to be hit to you, that's the kind of stuff that's, you know, not real good to think about when you're 45 years old.
Because you'll remember that.
Yeah, that's right. The count is 3-0 now. 3-0 to McElreath, the right fielder, and the 8th batter in the order. Boy, if you're Scott Carl, you want nothing to do with the first 3 or 4 hitters of Pepperdine. There's a strike, 3-1. Strike 2. Carl coming back right here. After going 3-0 to McElreath, he pours 2 strikes across. A high chopper fielded by Carl, reverse pivot, and a throw off of the bag. You know, Ronnie, I think maybe a little too nonchalant on that. I think he thought he had more time than he did.
Yeah, I mean, it took a long time to get down to him. And then when he saw it was going to be a close play, he tried to really put some pepper on this thing, and he throws it high and a little bit wide to Billy at first.
Yeah, Billy has to come off of the bag. You don't want to try to make the brilliant stretch and have that get down the line. So an E1, making it the 3rd error of the game for Hawaii, has been recorded as Eric Ekdahl comes to the plate. 1 out, top of the 9th inning, 6-3 Hawaii. Now Fair is playing a little bit more up the middle. And Vollmer comes in to offer encouragement to Carl. Hawaii looking for that ground ball for a potential game inning and tournament continuing double play. Inside. There's a strike. The Pepperdine faithful now very vocal next to their first base dugout.
And so are the Rainbow hopeful. They're really making a lot of noise. Not very many of them either.
Good curveball. Gets the inside corner, 1-2. Strike 3, fastball right down the middle. Strikeout number 8 for Scott Carl. Let me ask you this, Ronnie. How could you take this pitch?
You can't. You're just frozen. I think maybe you're distracted because you're thinking, gosh, I got to do something here. And by the time you think about what you need to do, bingo, you're gone.
And there you get a look at Scott Carl's mother. And the batter is Steve Rodriguez. The Rainbows 1 out away from entering the championship game in the West Regional here in Tucson. McElreath remains at first base. You pitch very carefully right here to Rodriguez. You know, down by 3 runs, you got Wazakowski, Sheff, and Melendez who can hit him out anywhere. So you really want to work on this batter. Count is 1-1. Line drive. Foul. So Carl now ahead 1-2. As we discussed in the opening running, the season started January 31st, and you set goals for yourself along the way. The first goal for the Bows was the tournament championship. They didn't win that, Meiji did. Then you set it for the WAC championship. They accomplished that. Then the tournament championship, they accomplished that. Another ground ball foul. So now you look to the regionals as the next step, and they're about to, with one out, extend it to the championship game. And then, of course, it's to get to the big show of college baseball, the one that's held at Rosenblatt Field in Omaha, Nebraska, the College World Series. Just misses inside. Rodriguez had to back up away from that a bit. If it missed, it did not miss by much. Two and two pitch. As Carl goes to first base. Curveball in the dirt, blocked by Sheff. Full count. So Scott Carl now with a full count, 2 outs. The runner, after Carl commits himself home, should be going toward second base. High fly ball to center field. This should end it as Eric Evans makes the catch. The Bows go on for the championship. So Hawaii now just one victory away from packing their bags to Omaha, Ronnie, and so is Pepperdine. It all comes down to the next game. The totals for Pepperdine, 3 runs, 4 hits. They committed 1 error. For University of Hawaii, they scored 6 runs on 10 hits, and they committed 3 errors. So we'll be back with the second game of the day. There's Scott Carl and his mom. And it's over. Great reaction by Mrs. Carl.
Great game, 1-9.
So Pepperdine has gone down into the corner, and they will be talking to Coach Lopez. So we'll be back with the second game of the day between Hawaii and Pepperdine. But first, let's enjoy the special presentation of Rainbow Celebration.